Beyond the Paranormal podcast. It's another Tuesday, and these Tuesdays keep rolling in and rolling in and rolling in so quickly, so quickly. But folks, please get out and check out our Facebook. Get out and check out our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube link. It's very simple. Just Beyond the Paranormal podcast. Just click on it and subscribe. That's it. We have really, really great, awesome, in-depth paranormal interviews on here. Plus, I have my co-host with me this evening.
Hello, Creeps. It's Creek Show.
RhiAnna will be here hopefully when she can. If not, hey, it's all good. You got to make that money. So
that's right. Got to pay those bills.
That's right. Hey, we got an awesome guest on here tonight. I've known her for years through Scarefest. Plus, her paranormal research. Miss Patti Starr, who is a world-renowned paranormal investigator with over 40 years of paranormal research and ghost investigations. Author, and Patti owns the Ghost Chasers International Organization, founded in 1996, based in Lexington, Kentucky. Patti's also a tour guide for the immensely popular Bardstown Ghost Trek, which she started in 1997 in, of course, Bardstown, Kentucky. Patti's done all kinds of things, and I have nothing but respect for her. So we're going to be talking to her about beginning paranormal people and seasoned paranormal stuff, and plus all her things. So, Patti, welcome to the podcast, and sorry for taking up all that time. All that stuff.
And thank y'all for having me. I'm so honored. I'm excited about tonight.
And the best part is it's Kentucky people on here.
That's exactly right. We love it.
I think Kentucky has the best ghost hunters in the USA.
Hey, we got some great places that's got some activity, man. I'll say that straightforward. I would put Kentucky in the top three.
I have a theory about that.
Okay. Ooh, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, this is my theory. Okay, in Kentucky, we have a lot of caves and caverns in Kentucky. You know that.
Sure. Yeah.
And within the caves and caverns of Kentucky, you find lots of limestone, which is a natural stone here for us, which is a lot like quartz when it comes to energy. Also, we have calcite. Calcite is a mineral that I've learned through my research that holds memories. So when people ask me, Patti, of all the places that you've ghost hunted, and I've ghost hunted in 3 different countries and 26 different states in the United States. So I have a good comparison going on. So they say, well, where would you say are the best places to ghost hunt? I always say Kentucky. I get the most apparitions, the best EVPs, the best videos of evidence that you can get. So my theory is because of Kentucky, and in Kentucky we have the Mammoth Cave, which is, I think, 250 miles of continuous connection that goes forward. It's the largest cave system in the world. And that just holds, I think that just holds true to that kind of energy that happens. And as it comes up through our, through the ground and comes up to us, I just feel like that it's good for them to tap in on that and communicate and show themselves and speak to us.
I didn't know that, and I'm a history buff. I love Civil War stuff. I mean, I hate that it happened, but I'm very intrigued with that stuff. I didn't know that. I don't know if this is true or not. You may know, Patti, but they used Mammoth Cave as a makeshift hospital back in the day.
Yes, and they also used Mammoth Cave for people with TB as well, tuberculosis.
Oh, right. That is right. Yeah. Wow. Because it was so cool in that cave.
Right. Unfortunately, it was a bad decision because it was too wet for the lungs and things. So it wasn't a very good decision. But they just thought that it would help the inflicted with the TB, and unfortunately, it did not help.
So I want to know what got you into paranormal. What was that spark or whatever happened that said, I want to find out more about this?
I just think I was kind of born into it, I guess. I mean, from a very early age, I could communicate, but I didn't know there was anything different in it. I had no fear of it. And I mean, let me back up a little bit. When I was really small, something happened to me with a shadow person, and it scared me just a little bit. But then, as I got older, I learned that you can, the shadow person for me. Now, when you ask me a question, I'm going to explain it based on my beliefs and my experiences, my research. So there's other people out there that feel totally different. And there's so many different descriptions and definitions of what shadow people are. Okay. So for me, shadow people, this particular shadow person was like a trickster, a teaser. And when he would tease me, it would scare me, like pull my cover off and stand over my bed and laugh at me. And at first I didn't understand what was happening. So it scared me. But then over the years, I got used to it, and I started learning things about the spirits that were coming through to me. And I always tell people I've learned more about life from the dead than I have the living. And so I just feel like I learned so much. And as I got older, of course, my mother and father, they were Baptist and very, very strict. And so when I would talk about seeing or hearing these little spirits or things, it upset them a little bit because, based on their belief in the Bible and everything, that when you would communicate like that with spirits, it was supposed to be an evil thing. And so, and as I would explain things to my mom, she would say to me, no, honey, you just had a dream. And I'm like, Mommy, I was awake. And, then she would say, well, then you just like to daydream and imagine things. And I said, I didn't imagine this. And then she'd look at me and she'd say, well, for God's sake, don't tell the preacher.
That sounds
and I wouldn't.
That sounds so familiar, Patti. Like,
yeah,
that was very similar to the experience I had growing up, and having like interactions and communications with spirits, particularly in a house that we moved into when we first moved to Kentucky. And same thing about my parents are like, oh, it's a dream. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Or don't tell the people at church about it. It's very taboo, to mention those kinds of things.
It was very taboo. And then as I got older, I became a little more precise with the things that I heard and saw. And then after I had my children, it was almost like it intensified. And I think that's just women with their intuition. We all have intuition. Sure. I just feel like women have that special mom intuition. And so, so it's kind of like a double whammy, I think, for women. And so, and then right around the early 1900s, I'm not that old, 1990s, I met an electronic engineer guy, and he started explaining some stuff about energy that really caught my interest. And he had different types of meters that he used during his work. And I got to thinking, I said, I wonder if I could take those meters and maybe when I feel things coming around me, I can use these meters to interact. And of course, one was the cell sensor meter and one was just a regular EMF meter. Mm-hmm. And so I started working right about the 1990s. I started working with a different equipment and videos and audios. And my first real EVPs that I got was totally accident. It was back in 1970. I think it was about 1976, and I was working for a company. It was a dress company called Casual Corner. Not those anymore, but I worked for them about 12 years, and I developed a really unique thing with my little. I had a little recorder, and of course it was analog, and I'd walk around early in the mornings before my staff, figure out what I was going to delegate, and I'd go over to the pants, and I maybe wanted them colorized, or the blouses, and I wanted them straightened or whatever. And I would just say that on my recorder. And then I would go in the back before the staff got there, and I would start filling out who to assign the certain projects that I wanted to complete. And I'm listening, of course, to my recorder, and then I'd stop it, and then I'd listen, and I'd stop it. And then one day I got a help me. And I thought, whoa, yeah, I know. And I said, oh, my goodness, I didn't hear. I mean, I know there's nobody here, just me. And then I got to thinking, oh, my gosh, because I was already kind of a ghost hunter. But let me tell you, I had to be very, very particular who I told what I was going to go do. Or sometimes I'd take my kids to an abandoned house, and I'd they didn't know. They just loved going to these old houses. But I was trying to pick up things and see if I could feel things. And when I got that first EVP back in the 70s, I thought, oh, this is good, and then of course I started paying more attention to my photographs, and then I got a video camera, and then it just kind of started going from there. And I had my best results when I would start talking to them and ask them, like when I'd take pictures, I'd say, oh, please, can you show yourself if I take a picture in the mirror or if I take a picture in the window, and please just show me your face or your whole self if you can. And a lot of times they would really work with me, and they would show me particular things as I would talk to them and ask them. So it was a lot of fun back then, and it still is. But when I just first started, a lot of little things that happened by accident,
Sure.
But it was good that it happened that way.
I imagine it was very valid. Sorry, John. I imagine it was very validating though to like hear that the first time, like all those years you've been hearing things and nobody else could hear it, and then you hear it on audio, and it's like that's it. That's what I've been hearing. That'd be amazing.
That is so true. And then I had a fella tell me a story one time about he started hearing, and the spirit speaking with them, and it became to upset him so bad that he went to a psychiatrist thinking there was something really wrong with him, and they diagnosed him and said he did have some type of psychological deficiency, and he said that I was just online and I started seeing these ghost hunter websites pop up, and then I heard they were doing recordings. And so he would hear most of his voices while he was in the shower. And it's probably because of the water making that sound,
Yeah.
And so he took a recorder in to the shower, and he picked up those voices, and he took it back to his doctor and said, now tell me, do you hear this? I thought that was kind of remarkable. And then he stopped taking his medication because the medication was so bad for him that he lost his job. He had to move back home. He was doing real well, and having a very good, reaction to the medicine. So that's kind of cool. I kind of wonder people that are diagnosed with certain things like schizophrenia and things like that. Maybe they're just connected, and these are communications that are happening to them, and it's not all our brain going cuckoo inside.
Oh yeah, they're misdiagnosed, and I totally agree with that 1,000%. We got a question here in the chat room, but I want to ask this before we get to the chat room here. Nowadays, it's not as taboo to say, I believe in spirits, or ghosts, I'm a paranormal investigator, versus say the 70s and early 80s, because during that time you were shunned. I mean, nobody did anything to do with you. They thought you were a freak show.
Yes.
Why do you think it's so acceptable now?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me that question, because I feel I have a good answer. Okay. I don't know exactly what year the X-Files came up.
Okay.
But when they came out and started showing all these different things that were happening, people, I noticed when I would work, people say, hey, did you see X-File last night? Because it went big, when it came on. And they'd say, oh yeah, I saw where his sister died and then did this. And then they would say, well, that it kind of gave me cold chills because I had an experience like that. And then I noticed that more and more people, after X-Files started coming out a little bit, they weren't quite as afraid to talk about it, because now here's this #1 show, and it was on for several years, and it just gave them like an opportunity to share something that might not sound so wacky if there's other people that are watching that show. Now, I'm not saying the show was the only thing, but then gradually the TV started picking up. The first thing that I noticed was Unsolved Mysteries years ago, and they would have Sylvia Brown on, and they, talking about experiences and ghosts and things like that, and then later on, I think, of course, the X-Files, and then after that, a good bit after that, then the Ghost Hunter show. And I think the Ghost Hunter show was phenomenal because it really gave a lot of us out there that are doing this, I felt like it gave us a little bit more credibility, because these guys are out there and they're showing what they're doing. And there were other shows, Paranormal State, and then Ghost Adventures, and the Ghost Brothers. They and I just have a feeling with all that going on that it has become a little more acceptable, and people don't look at you like you're a nut.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I am. So.
We all are, Patty. We all are a little bit. We all
That's
have
what makes life spicy and fun if we have a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit in there.
So
the spirits really enjoy it when you have fun with them. They do. I always tell people that before I go on an investigation, I have a little method I do. It's kind of like a 3-day method. And all I do is I send my energy out, and I send really positive energy out. And I explain to them where we're going, what we're going to do while we're there. And I hope that they'll join us and we can get EVPs and things like that. I just have a little bit of fun with that. And then I try to raise my, right before I go into the location, whether it be cemeteries or, outside, inside, what I try to do is raise my frequency, my vibration, my energy. And the best way to do that is I bring thoughts of love emotion in. I think love is the whole secret to that connection. So I think about love. I'll think about kittens. I'll think about a funny joke. And when I go in, I call them my sweet spirits. Are you here today? Did you get my message? And I always have the best results, especially if I'm taking a film crew in, or a magazine reporter, or somebody from the newspaper that wants to do an article, because it's really great when I feel like I can put my energy out there, create enough for the spirits to feel comfortable, and then the photographers with the newspapers get the evidence. That's even better than me taking the picture.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me of The Secret. Like, the energy that you put out is the energy that you get back.
That's right. I saw that. I love that show. Boy, that was about what? That came out right around 2003, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That is awesome. I love all of that. I like working with energies. I like when I meet people, sometimes I immediately see their energy, and sometimes I don't. But it always makes me grateful that each and every one of us are so individual, that we have all of these different frequencies and vibration. And even though you may be a person of a different religion, or a person of different beliefs, or whatever it is, I always like to think that instead of you being right or wrong, I always like to think that you're just different. And I like difference. I love anything that's different.
I love that.
I always loved going into it and doing a investigation, or paranormal research, I should say, because I hate calling it that. When I do paranormal research, is I like to treat the spirits as they were still living. Right. I don't say, hey, you're dead. I mean, come on. They know that, folks. I mean,
or provoke.
Yeah, or provoke.
Oh, I don't like provoking. I think is so cruel. Yeah, that's very cruel. I always go in and I want to be open and receptive, and as things happen, like if I get tapped or something, I've had a little bit of a push. One time I got slapped really hard on the back of the leg, and I thought, oh, what was that for? And a lot of times people think, oh, it's a demon, it's evil, but sometimes it's just. You can have tricksters, and then you can have those that are so desperate to communicate that they don't really know how to raise their energy to where it hits the brain level. So they'll go with the physical level, and to be pinched or scratched doesn't necessarily mean evil. Evil or demonic. Mm-hmm. And I will say, in all the years that I have ghost hunted, my almost 50 years now, since the 70s, I feel like that I've never really run across anything that I would consider evil or demonic. Now, I'm not saying that does not exist. I'm just telling you what my experiences are. Now, I have run into kind of a spiteful and maybe a little bit mean or hateful, but that's the way they were before they passed. And they have not completely gone on. They're still in the earth's plane, so they have gone on. Once they complete that transition, and if they do come back, it's a whole different story.
I was kicked on our I think it's like our second or third, maybe investigation, maybe fourth. And the next day I had a bruise like
Me
on
too.
my eye, and it hurt. I mean, I was like, how is
I
this even possible?
I had a bruise. It went all the way across my leg. And the one thing that made me a little irritable at myself, I take pictures of everything. I wish I'd have taken a picture. That would have been a keepsake picture to say, this is what my spirit, he wanted my attention so bad. He hit me with felt like a stick or a bat or something. It hurt pretty bad. And then I thought, well, maybe you just had a leg cramp. You know how people go and say things like that. But when I saw that bruise the next day, I said, I sure they got my attention.
Right. How did you stay grounded as a medium when you knew you had that connection with the spirits? When did you say, hey, I've got to control this, I've got to take control? How did you do that?
Well, I think a lot of it I just thought was natural, so I didn't really think about turning on, turning off until I got older, and then I realized I had tapped into something. And so I always felt that it was very important because I don't want to be just walking around and constantly have being flooded. So I would always want to wait and be specific with my own energy and my own connection before I would allow things to come in. At one point, I used to get exhausted when I would go ghost hunting.
Yeah.
And sometimes it felt like they actually did not possess me. I don't believe that would happen to me. But I could feel like they were hanging on me a little bit. Or I would feel maybe I start with whatever I picked up, I would kind of carry it, whether it be sadness or pain or fear, doubt, whatever. And so this was early on in my ghost hunting days. I went to kind of like a psychic fair, and there was this lady with all of these beautiful stones, and I had never really worked with stones when it came to ghost hunting. Not then. I used to work with stones when I wanted to, like crystals and things when I wanted to enhance my energy, but I didn't know that I could actually use them for ghost hunting. So she called me over and she said, I said, yes. And she said, may I tell you something? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, before I tell it to you, I want you to hold out your hand. And I held out my hand, and she put this black stone in my hand. And I closed it, and oh my gosh, I felt vibration. It got warm. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but I got so light. I felt like I could float right up off the floor.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at her and I said, what is this stone? She said, that is a tourmaline. She said, I counted 40 spirits hanging on to you.
Wow.
She said, what do you do for a living? And I said, I'm a ghost hunter. So then I learned, and this what I have on my neck right now. This is tourmaline.
Oh,
and so I just learned to embrace the powers of all of the gems and stones and things. I learned what they can do. This is lapis. I love wearing lapis because lapis will enhance your psychic ability to connect, to understand as you read. My house is full. I have a shivalingam. I have a quartz. I have a huge stone. Let me see. Is it here? No, I put it in the other room. It's a huge calcite stone.
Oh,
and
wow.
see, calcite's really good for cleansing all of your chakras. You take that big old calcite and it just cleanses it right up. So I've learned, because I love the energy so much and working with the energies, and I read people's hands. I'd rather say hands instead of palms, because I don't really do like a basic palm reader like lifelines and that type. I just get impressions within someone's hands because I can see the energy, and then I can kind of read from there. So I really appreciate to have different tool. I love wands, just like Harry Potter. It's a tool, but they have, because of my intent, I feel like I can take that intent and push it and use it within that tool. Now, I don't need the tool to get it done, but I'm a kid. I love tools. I love the stones, the wands. I love it all.
I need a stone that will get all this, just all this bad juju off me. Because Crit can tell you I have nothing but bad luck. I need one that's gonna give me some good luck, get me some.
You need to get your energy back, my friend.
Okay, you got it, girl. Let me tell you what the biggest thing going on with I guess the way we go through our daily lives is like when I get up in the morning, the first question I ask myself, and I'm serious, I go, Patti, what can you do today to enhance your happiness? Because I'm always happy. And so even through, I just came from about 5 years of some very difficult things going on in my life, but I never lost that happiness. I mean, I still greeted each day, even though. And again, I think what you do is you learn which energy do you want to tap in on. Do you want to tap in on the energy and focus on, say you got 10 things wrong with you and you want to just focus on those 10 things and you've only got one really great thing going on, but you feel overwhelmed because all of the negative stuff going on. You'll give your energy, your time, your attention, everything will go there, and you'll just get more and more and more and more of it.
That's it.
So if you can just find one thing to make you happy when you first wake up in the morning, Patti, what is it going to take? What do you need to do? Do you need to go somewhere? Do you need to be with someone? Whatever it is. And then I do it because I do want to maintain me always attracting that energy. And I use it to attract money, to attract events, to attract relationships, to attract good health, to attract anything that I want in my life to attract. I try to just focus. I don't deny the bad. I mean, or the challenges. I don't like to say bad. I like to say challenges or either contrast. But I like to focus on what really makes me feel good. And the other things too, sometimes I'll look at them and I'll say, okay, I'm going to release this, because me looking at it and me worrying about it all the time, it's just going to get worse. So I'm just going to drop it. And that just helps me. Now, again, I'm just speaking about what works for me. We all are so different that once you find other things in life that will help you. Some people like to write it down and burn it, and then it's taken care of. Some people like to write it down and bury it. Some people like me, I like to use all my little tools. I like to use my wands. And I used to take wands, and if I got a real negative email, I'd take that one, I'd do my incantations, and I'd hit my computer, and then I'd write this response to this very negative email. Being a ghost hunter, I got a few, not many, but I did get a few. And sure enough, when I'd get the response, it would always be such a wonderful, blessed response.
I like, podcasting is my thing. This is my passion. Podcasting, I absolutely love. I like connecting with people. I like feeding off their energy. I love, like you said, energy is a big thing for me. Right. I like learning about people because everybody, like you said, is different. I love knowing things that they do compared to what I do. This is what I want to do. This is exactly what I want to do.
It sounds like it. I can tell in your voice too.
I'm not giving up. I've come this far. I'm not giving up so far.
And you've got a great voice for podcasting.
I do.
You do. You do have a great voice.
Thank you.
I love it. And I like your I like the way you're making me feel. I feel very comfortable. I don't feel I'm not nervous. You just have such a great energy about you when you come on. And I didn't get real upset about not connecting because I didn't feel like you were sending me like, oh my God, is this stupid?
John's been like this I've known him for over 25 years now. So he's always been like the rock of Gibraltar when it comes to steadfastness, loyalty, all those good things. I got nothing but love for John.
I love Macias.
And speaking
of, stay with it because it's saying I like it. I like how you make me feel. So I'm sure you make all your guests feel this way. So
It's not an interview. It's just people chatting. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
That's
have
right.
to.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the chat, we've got quite a few things going on over here right now. So
Yes,
Johnny Freeman just said hello, and Johnny's been great about logging in each week.
Hello, Johnny.
To us. So thank you, Johnny, for joining us. And then Urban Verse from over on YouTube said, really neat theory about the caves and mineral deposits in the state. Bet all the coal mining could have affected the energy to some extent as well.
Yep.
Absolutely. Good one. Good point. Good point.
Urban Verse also said, saw a theory proposed the other day regarding paranormal entities becoming more prevalent because they're being exposed more frequently online these days, gaining energy from the internet, basically.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Yes. I like the fact that we have become more open. I like the fact that we are going into different instruments, just like your iPhone. I call my iPhone an ITC, Instrumental Transcommunicator, and it's an excellent tool for ghost hunters. I mean, I know we use it for phone calls and our text messages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I noticed that when we take pictures with the iPhone, when we do videos with the iPhone, when we do recordings with the iPhone, it seems like we collect more evidence than we ever did before with like a still camera or like a regular big bulky video camera. I don't know what it is, but I think that digital age has opened it up too. And just those lines of communication, upload, download. I mean, if you can just upload and download things that you can't even see, why not spirit information? So yes, that was a very good comment.
I'm glad that he brought that up because I remember when we were doing paranormal investigation, which I'm finally going to do one after years of not doing it because I got the itch again. I remember going over, actually, no, I was doing my podcast just after I got out of it. And I was doing an interview. And I would hear an answer to the question I was asking the guest. And I would hear laughter. I would hear all kinds of different crap that would come through. And I'm like, wait a second. Am I getting EVPs over my interviews with these people? I still got them saved because it flipped me out because I was like, what, how? Then one day it just hit me. I was like, well, maybe they're gaining energy from all this equipment I've got in my room. And at that time I had an attachment and it's gone now. Thank God it is gone.
Good.
But, and that's one of the big reasons why I got out of it. But I've got that itch again. But in the back of my mind, I'm still going, I don't know.
Oh, you'll be good. You'll be good because over the years, don't you think you just learned so much more about what's happening with our communications, connections, understanding of what spirit. It's not always. I think when we at the beginning when things first started, it was all about the demons and it was a lot of negative stuff, and that kind of bothered me a little bit because as a ghost hunter, I just didn't experience it. I'm thinking, where's that coming from? Then if you think about your energy, like I said, you attract, and so I think when we all get out there and we're all different and we're seeing things different. If you go check, different countries have different ghosts. They have the Jan, they have, the demons, the one-legged hop thing. They have, it's unbelievable. And I'm like, well, how come we don't have that in America? It stems off of our own imagination. It stems off of our beliefs. It stems off of the energy that we send out there and that we see. Sometimes I've often wondered, I've had such great luck in some places where I'll get voices or an apparition. And then I'll ask myself, did I want this so bad that I created it? I mean, I could have. I mean, who knows? We're still, like pioneers here. We're still on the very edge of everything that we're learning. But as long as we keep, like an open mind and keep going forward. And I always tell people that are ghost hunting, a lot of times when you go ghost hunting, if you get afraid and all of a sudden you have this fear come in, I tell people just leave because you've already contaminated the whole space. Because that is fear energy. There's no telling what you can attract. So I always feel like if I go in and I'm not saying my way is the only way and it's the right way. I'm just saying this is my way. And I'm not condemning anybody else for their way. But if you just what I do when I'm going in, I'm like, sweet spirits, are you here with us tonight? We want to prove that you exist. I know you can help us with this, and just talk to them in that manner and just see what happens.
How much information, Patti, or research is done on the location and family you're trying to get answers for? Do you want to know
I
all of
usually,
it?
nah, I usually don't get anything. I just go in.
That's what
Unless
I
it's
yeah.
something that is broadcasted. Like I knew when I went to Waverly that it was a TB hospital and then it was a geriatric type of hospital. And,
Okay.
you know, there's some things that you just hear about. But a lot of time, and then sometimes when the family would contact me, they would say, well, we've done research and we already know this. And they would tell me. And sometimes it was good because if they told me that there was a Janice there, that they found out she fell down the stairs or something, then I could address it and say, are you Janice? Or something like that. And sometimes that would help. And then also when I would get names in the recorder, I would want to make sure that it might be a name that they mentioned. Maybe there was a family of 5 or 6, and there was a Dan and a Marshall and, you know, a Linda, and one of those or 2 of those names come up, then it kind of validates. So I don't, and then there's, in my earlier years, I didn't want to know because I wanted to see how close I could come to getting the information. But then I found out that once you get some of the information, it helps with the energy flow that's coming to you. And so there's no need in putting like a block in front of everything. Going, don't tell me. I mean, that would be like, okay, I'm going to the doctor, but I'm not going to tell him anything that's wrong with me. He's a doctor.
Yeah.
He needs to figure it out. But
Yeah.
see, sometimes I feel like, and I know people say, well, then you're not a real psychic because they gave you too much information. And I really don't care what they say or think because I'm using that information at that point in time to help the situation that I'm in. So regardless of where it comes from, whether it comes from your mouth or the spirit world, I don't really care. I'm just there for one reason. And that reason is to be enlightened to what's going on.
I've got just a couple more questions and we'll let you out here, but we'll definitely have you back on for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
I always felt this, and I'm a firm believer in this, but I want to know you because you've been in this field for a very long time. But do you feel a location can consume you, take over you, either by researching it or staying at that location more than usual?
I do. I have to be honest with you. I got a little bit like that with the Paris, Kentucky TB hospital, and also the Talbot Tavern. Oh my gosh. When I was the general manager of the Talbot Tavern for several years, and when it burned up and I had to leave and I left all my ghost friends and everything, I literally cried like a baby because I just got so connected with it. And so I do think that certain locations, especially, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just the ghost. I love the history. Sometimes I get a little crazy over the history.
Yeah.
And I like doing research. Like I got a little crazy when I started researching Abraham Lincoln and reading books, and it was like I couldn't stop. I couldn't put this book down. I got that book. I wanted to really figure out his true connection with Kentucky. I mean, not just Kentucky as a person, but, you know, Kentucky, the whole thing, the geology and all of it, you know. And yes, I do feel like there are times when you can really, and you become a little bit feel like this is mine, and it's not, but you feel like it is.
Yeah, and I hate this saying, this old saying everybody says, yeah, ghosts only come out at night. No, they don't. They're out in the day.
No. I used to do most of my investigations before 6 o'clock in the evening. I would show up around 4 or 5. And then I would tell people, I'd say, because I want to get home before dark. I'm afraid of the dark, but I'm not. I just said that, you know, to be joking. But I've done, I've done a TV person and a radio person that would have to get up like at 3 o'clock in the morning in order to get to the station. And then they would come home around 10 and their work would be done. And so I would start an investigation at 10 o'clock in the morning and get just as much as I would get if I was there at midnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did find out for me, that 3 o'clock in the afternoon, is a good time, and 3 o'clock in the middle of the night is a good time. Now, why, I don't know, but it just seems like when I would document my times of things happening, that during my research, and like I said, I would go between 4 and 6, sometimes 3 and 6, and in the day, and I would get just as much.
I've always had a thought on that, Patty. When everybody says, I know the 3 o'clock in the morning, the witching hour, supposedly,
Yes.
and all that stuff. I always thought, well, hey, man, 3 o'clock in the evening, 3 o'clock in the day. To me, that's like the balance between the veil. That's the balance between Mother Nature and the outer world.
Wow, that's a good way to look at that. I like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's just me personally.
Well,
But
I know, but see, sometimes when you share things like that, you might hit it where you never thought of that. And then it gives that other person another thing to think about. And maybe I always tell people, while I'm talking, if you hear something that's like, whoa, never thought of that, kind of like the way that sounds, hold on to it. But if I say something, you go, whoa, she's way off, she's out there, just release it, let it go, but just enjoy learning something new.
Patty, we are going to try to. I've been trying to get this podcast here live to do live podcasts here in Lexington and places like that coming up here. We would love to have you out on several of these with us for sure.
Oh my goodness! Well, I live in Nancy.
Okay, so
do you know how far Nancy is from Lexington?
I don't know. I'm in Eastern Kentucky. I'm about an hour and a half away from Lexington, so I don't know how far.
Okay. So from Lexington, and I don't know what direct. Now, where did you say you were from?
I'm in Eastern Kentucky, we're Pike County, Floyd County.
Pike County. Oh my gosh. I have no idea. I do know that from Lexington, I'm 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I'm in Lexington.
I'm living in the woods.
Good for you.
Yeah, we would love to have you out sometime with us if we come to Lexington or somewhere close by you, for sure.
Well, closer would be Summerset. Hey, you guys, did you know in Summerset there is an international paranormal museum?
No
idea.
Oh my gosh. Look it up on YouTube.
Uh-oh.
Look it up on YouTube. It is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. And on my pod, I have a YouTube as well. PattiStarr.com. If you go on there, I have links to it. And that paranormal museum is phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
And if you ever come to Summerset, oh my gosh. And it's not just ghost hunting and things like that. He's got things in there about Bigfoot. He's got things in there about all of the little critters in Kentucky that they found. I think they were gray people or whatever.
Yeah.
All of the different cryptozoology type things that have happened in Kentucky. Oh my gosh, I have a poster. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. They've got this poster. It's called Beast of the Bluegrass. I've got it here on my wall because I like to look at it. And it has, it has every kind of monster and Bigfoot and everything that has been. They even have a thing like the Mothman type shape thing that's been seen. And they've got like a water snake or something. It's just all kinds of things that you probably don't know about. He's got it all. He's got a little bit of everything. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's so awesome. Patty, thank you so much for doing this podcast with us tonight. And like I said, we will have you back on here for sure later on.
I enjoyed it. You just call me back. Next time I'll know to get on my computer.
This next time I have some questions for you that I really want to get some answers from, but we'll save that for next time.
All right. Now, I love it. And I'm so honored again to do this show with the both of you. And thank you so much for inviting me.
How can folks stay in touch with you? Everything Patti Starr wise, how can they do that?
All right. I have ghosthunter.com and I also have PattiStarr.com. So my website shows everything. And I'd like to make one addition. There are new hosts now to the Bardstown Ghost Trek. Her name is Kate Inman, and also a new host for the Lexington Ghost Walk. And that is a group, Beverly McChesney and Bethany Inman are the people that I think there's several of them that are doing that Ghost Walk. But if you go to the Facebook Ghost Walk of Lexington, not Lexington Ghost Walk, because that was something else years ago, Ghost Walk of Lexington and or Bardstown Ghost Trek. On Facebook, you've got all the new numbers and how to reach the new hosts.
Awesome. Folks, we will see you next Tuesday with my bro, Mike Couch from the Lost Limbs Foundation. He's going to be on here, and it's going to be an early start because he has a podcast at 7 o'clock, just like we do, and I got on to him about that. I said, we're not supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to do that. But anyway, Patty,
we also have the ghost hunting event later this month, John, where we're going to be podcasting at the hospital of Old College Hill Hospital in West Virginia.
So you can't talk about either.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about it. Let me look it up. I'm trying to get it right. So it's the old hospital on College Hill in Williamson, West Virginia. So we're going to be out there. We're going to be podcasting that night, and that's happening on June 24th.
Right, folks. We'll have the link and everything to where we'll come back in and update everybody on all those spooklies and all that stuff. So we're going to have a good time with this, and it's my first investigation in about 20 years. So, you know, when the itch is there, you got to scratch it sometimes, and I think this is going to be real fun. So,
and it's my first official one besides like just happening to be in haunted places. So I'm excited, but a little trepidation too. So I'm excited.
All right, folks, we will see you next Tuesday. Patty, thank you so much.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you so much, guys. Good night.
Good night.